Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion, your host of Hut, and we are back here at the Baseball Hut too, and hopefully you like this video and subscribe. And as we get now to the last 2 months of the baseball season, the dog days are here. And we got a bunch of dogs to talk about in this video. As you know, the New York Mets are going nowhere. They traded basically everybody that wasn't nailed to the ground. They got rid of everything. Everything must go, and they got rid of it. That makes them a loser, especially since they wanted to go to the World Series. But before we get into this wonderful video, I need you to subscribe and like this video. From SI.com, here's the first group of losers. Headline: Yankees fans were absolutely livid over the team's lackluster trade deadline. Well, no kidding. And it's funny because, you know, the Yankee fans, they all talk about all the championships they win. Haven't won any in a long time. Yankees fans are hopeful that GM Brian Cashman, this is just me, but does Brian Cashman look a little like Lee Harvey Oswald? Brian Cashman will pull off some trade deadline magic ahead of the team's playoff push during the final 2 months of the regular season. Come August 1st, that was not the case. New York's only action at the trade deadline was the reported acquisitions of pitchers Kenyon Middleton and Spencer Howard, and trades with the White Sox and Rangers. They made a trade with the Rangers? I didn't even see that. Prior to those deals, which came in just ahead of the 6 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time deadline, the Yankees were the only team in MLB that had not made a deal. With many glaring needs, the fan base was unsurprisingly livid over the team's lack of trade deadline activity. Yankee fans took to Twitter to rip the organization after what was largely viewed as a lackluster deadline deal. Who cares about what people think on Twitter? Cares. But yes, the Yankees did nothing. Absolutely, positively nothing. This is a team that needs offense. They didn't do that. They need a little help with their pitching. They didn't do that. I would say about the Yankee team, they are basically in the muck. They didn't do anything to sell. They didn't do anything to buy. They brought in a couple of middle relievers. That's the worst thing your team could do. If you're gonna bring in middle relievers, bring in some other everyday players. People get excited for everyday players, or even, you know, utility guys that are named players. Well, you know, it's weird. The Yankees, I know a lot of people were not happy that the Yankees brought back Brian Cashman this offseason. And they certainly weren't very happy that they brought back Aaron Boone. Aaron Boone, he always likes to get thrown out, but when his players don't play hard, he doesn't do anything about it. They dog it, and he doesn't say anything. He doesn't take them out. And it says something very interesting about the Yankees as an organization, where Aaron Judge has had the most mysterious toe injury in the history of baseball, where he missed a month because the dope ran into the door of the bullpen of the Dodger Stadium, hurt his toe, comes back after a month, plays 2 games against the Baltimore Orioles. They go 1-1 against the Orioles, and they sit him on Sunday Night Baseball. That's embarrassing. I mean, that tells you everything you need to know about where the Yankees are in terms of as an organization. You bring your best player back, you play him. Instead, the word was load management. Well, he's a bit of a load for the last month, sitting on his ass because of a bad toe. The San Francisco Giants, they weren't sending any San Francisco treats out to their fans, that's for sure. Headline from SI.com. San Francisco Giants acquired 2 versatile bats in trade with the Mariners. The Giants acquired outfielder A.J. Pollock, who spent half of his baseball life on the DL, then had gone to the IL. Infielder Mark Mathias and cash, and a trade for the Mariners for a player to be named later. The Giants acquired outfielder A.J. Pollock, infielder Mark Mathias, and cash from the Mariners, and a trade for a player to be named later on Monday afternoon. Matthews was optioned to AAA Sacramento. Pollock is currently on the 10-day injured list. See, I didn't even know he was injured with a hamstring injury, but the team is optimistic he will be activated as soon as he arrives in San Fran. The Giants needed to create the 2 40-man roster spots for the team's acquisitions. They have one spot open and shifted reliever John Brebbia to the 60-day injured list and a corresponding move. The full details of the move were first reported by It Doesn't Matter. Who cares about that? That's a team, let me tell you, that's a team that needed a little extra oomph. And the fact that they only brought in A.J. Pollock, who has been on the injured list, tells you another team that's middling. And you're gonna go up against that division with the Dodgers and the Diamondbacks. I would mention that the Dodgers, they're at the end of this video, which is the most embarrassing, the funniest thing that happened on the trade deadline. It's what happened to them. But you had the Diamondbacks who actually made a big move. They brought in the reliever. I don't call him a closer. Paul Sewald, who's a former Met. Guy pitched 200 games for the Mets. He was terrible. And he pitched well in Seattle because there's no pressure up there. Good thing he went to Arizona. He'll pitch well in Arizona. Just don't expect him to pitch well in a big spot if you're an Arizona Diamondbacks fan. But the Giants, they did really, for a veteran team, they didn't really give them much help. You know, they could use some help at shortstop. They could use some help at starting pitch, and they'd do anything. I mean, really, talk about not really, basically holding, sitting on your hands. You know, it's kind of what the Yankees did. The Yankees did absolutely nothing either. And they could have used some help. I mean, the Giants were discussed about Tommy Pham. Tommy Pham is better than A.J. Pollock at this point. You know. Here's the thing that they say about Pollock in this article. Pollock is easily the most notable name in the deal, a 12-year veteran who has previously won a Gold Glove and received an All-Star selection. However, he has fallen far from the peak of his career. This season, he has slashed 173, 225 on base, and 323 slugging percent. That's terrible. Terrible. What a disgrace. Giants didn't do anything. Unbelievable. And finally, and actually one of the more amusing parts of the deadline, is the Los Angeles Dodgers. Now, the Dodgers always seem to get their way. They always seem to get all the players they ever want. Never any problems with the Dodgers. Well, there was a problem on deadline day, and they talked a little bit to the Mets about Justin Verlander, but it didn't seem that they were all that interested in giving up some of their better players, like say Emmett Sheehan, who the Mets really wanted badly. But they pivoted and they went for Erod. They went for Eduardo Rodriguez from DodgersNation.com. Headline: Dodgers news. Andrew Friedman surprised Eduardo Rodriguez invoked no trade clause in deal to L.A. Oh, really, Andrew? Well, they were part of the no trade clause that he has with the Tigers. The guy would rather stay in middling bad Detroit than get traded to fancy schmancy Los Angeles. Despite the Dodgers not making any more moves for starting pitching at the deadline other than Lance Lynn, it wasn't for lack of trying for general manager Andrew Friedman and company. According to Dodgers president of baseball operations Andrew Friedman, the team was surprised in Rodriguez's decision to invoke his no trade clause and remain in Detroit. They should have asked before they made the deal. We didn't expect it at all, Friedman said. We hadn't known one way or another. We thought with having a lot of his ex-teammates and guys he played with, our place in the stands, I thought it would be very, very desirable. Or apparently not. Apparently not. He'd rather stay in Detroit. Who wants to stay in Detroit? Well, apparently he does. And obviously, maybe he wants to just be there for Miguel Cabrera. Maybe that's it. Maybe he wants to be there for him when he retires. Both Freeman and the Dodgers fans alike could agree that they thought Rodriguez would be pitching for the boys in blue for the home stretch of the season. Why didn't he want to sign here? Why didn't he want to trade here? I don't get it. But unfortunately, Rodriguez had the Dodgers on a list of teams he preferred not to play for. Duh. As a result, other options in the market quickly faltered as the attempts to trade for Dylan Cease of the White Sox, Jack Flaherty of the Cardinals, and James Paxton of the Red Sox all came to pass without a deal made. Now, I would mention that Jack Flaherty went to Baltimore. Dylan Cease and James Paxton did not get moved at this deal. Despite the Rodriguez trade collapsing, the Dodgers made a few more deals at the deadline after shipping out Adam Kolarek and Phil Bickford to the Mets and bringing in another arm in Ryan Yalberg from the Kansas City Royals. All the Mets did was send them money. Rodriguez's addition to the Dodgers rotation would have provided valuable innings of work to a team that's been ravaged by injuries in their pitching depth thus far this season. With Walker Buehler still on the shelf in his recovery from Tommy John surgery, Clayton Kershaw's nagging shoulder injury, and Dustin May, Carrot Top, being out for the season with an elbow injury, Rodriguez would have slid in perfectly to boost the Dodgers' pitching depth. Well, he slid in and he slid out. He didn't even want to slide in. He didn't even want to take a chance. That tells you not everybody wants to play for a contender. Sometimes guys are comfortable where they are, and that's the bottom line because the Baseball Hut says so. Now, meanwhile, please subscribe to the Baseball Hut too. Thanks for watching. Have a good day, and I'll see you later.